Testing, testing. All right. Hi guys. Crystal Hummingbird here with my very first video review. I'd like to start this off with a bit of a disclaimer that this is going to become more of a regular thing because the way my life is going right now and with school and trying to graduate, video reviews are going to need to be my go-to review because I can't type any reviews up because I cry whenever I see a Word document now. With all the papers that I have to write and all the articles that I have to read, it's all become very aversive. I still love reading. I still love talking about books. So hopefully you guys will like this and you'll come back to watch me some more as I talk about books. So today, my very first video review is going to be about, let me find it. I might put up a little picture here or maybe over there somewhere with the book cover. But until then, my very first video review is about Manwhore. I don't know if you can see it. Manwhore by Katy Evans. Isn't he scrumptious? Oh my god. The book was scrumptious. The book was delicious. The book was everything. The book was beyond. Anyway, I loved it. It was perfect. So let's get into a general discussion. Okay, so a quick synopsis of Manwhore by Katy Evans. Is it possible to expose Chicago's hottest player without getting played? This is the story I've been waiting for all my life, and its name is Malcolm Kyle Preston Logan Saint. Don't be fooled by that last name, though. There's nothing holy about the man except the hell his parties raise. The hottest entrepreneur Chicago has ever seen. He's a man's man with too much money to spend and too many women vying for his attention. Mysterious, privileged, legendary. His entire life he's been surrounded by the press as they dig for tidbits to see if his fairy tale life is for real or all mirrors and social media lies. Since he hit the scene, his secrets have been his and his alone to keep. And that's where I come in. Assigned to investigate Saint and reveal his elusive personality, I'm determined to make him the story that will change my career. But I never imagined he would change my life. Bit by bit, I start to wonder if I'm the one discovering him, or if he's uncovering me. What happens when the man they call Saint makes you want to sin? Oh yeah, haha. He's totally gonna make you want to sin, like all 7 of them. The story is about Rachel. She works at a magazine that is dying, and her boss offers her the opportunity of her lifetime, one that can save her, her job, and save everyone who she works with. All she has to do is get close to the elusive Malcolm Saint, get inside his head, and figure him out and write about it. Let the world know who Chicago's hottest bachelor is. No holds barred. Easy, right? No. Getting close to Malcolm isn't that easy because he is closely surrounded, he's closely guarded by his employees. People who work for him are very loyal. They all protect him. He's a man with many means, and if he doesn't want to know you, then he doesn't have to know you. So I loved how Katy Evans set this up. I love their meet cute. The way they met was it was hilarious, and it was sexy, and it was awesome. It wasn't an insta love. It wasn't even, well, actually, yeah, it was an insta lust because you could feel their connection and you could feel the heat pretty much immediately. But Rachel had to work. She had to figure things out in order to get close to Malcolm. It wasn't that easy. That's Mango. He is my Bichon. He's very lovable, but he's very needy, and I can pretty much guarantee that he's going to interrupt every single one of these reviews. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, the way they met. Instant lust. Instant lust. but it was not instant love, which I love so much. This book had the best slow burn that I have read in a really long time. I mean, slow burn. It takes them forever to even kiss, and you can feel the heat. You know that they feel each other, that they like each other. There's this intensity, especially on Rachel's part. Oh yeah, the whole book is from her POV, so that makes Malcolm even more elusive because you don't get inside his head. You don't know what's going on with him, which makes him the perfect male, obviously. I mean, as much as I like a dual point of view, it's always so much better when you have to interpret his actions and you have to figure him out on your own without being inside his head to know exactly what his motivations are. So the slow burn, he wants to get close to Rachel. She is obviously on guard because there is this moral dilemma because she has to decide what she's willing to do to get her story, what she's willing to do to save herself and save her boss and save her career. Is she willing to take that extra step? Is she willing to put herself out there? And of course, the risk of putting yourself out there and making yourself vulnerable is that there's going to be the chance that you're going to fall and then there's going to be no turning back. Of course she falls. This is a romance. Of course she falls as they get to know each other, and she pulls a little bit of him out. He pulls a lot of her out, and she realizes a lot about herself that she never would have found out if it wasn't for Malcolm. And I love this. I love the interplay between them. I love the vulnerability between both of them. He is an alpha male. Yes, obviously, he's a billionaire, a young billionaire. He has all the money and all the toys and whatever. That part of the story wasn't that original, but he was human, and I love that. He wasn't just this faceless guy in a suit. Even though you didn't know that much about him, I wanted to know so much more, and I fell for him as Rachel fell for him. I could feel their connection. I love that she slowly peeled some of his reservations back, and he started to reveal himself to her, and he became a little bit more connected with her. And the more she learns about him, the more he starts to trust her, the worse she feels because she knows that she's holding this very, very huge secret. And trust and loyalty is something that he holds very dear. For someone who's always afraid that people might only want him for his money, he appreciates Rachel because he thinks that she doesn't have an agenda, that she just likes him for him. And as cheesy as that sounds, that's pretty much the theme of this book. It's finding someone who sees you like I see you. Finding someone who sees you, gets you, and loves you for you, even just likes you for you, without any ulterior motives. And as the two, Rachel and Malcolm, Saint, call him whatever you want. I prefer Malcolm personally, but I know a lot of people like Saint. As they get close together, they get further apart because she can't let herself get too close because she now has to make the decision on whether or not she's going to write this article or if she's going to throw it all away for a guy. I mean, the feminist in me was like, write the fucking article. You need to make your money. You need to pay your bills. Who cares about this rich dude? You don't even know anything about him. And the girly girl in me, the romance lover in me, no, she needed to just tell her boss, I'm sorry, and run away with Malcolm and live happily ever after. But of course, Katy Evans is a good writer. Thank God. Oh, and I will say that I've never read anything by her before. So I loved that this was my introduction to her because I thought she brought her aim game for this. I don't know anything else she's written, obviously, but if it's anything like this, I'm going to read all of it. And she did a perfect job of balancing the internal turmoil that Rachel feels as she decides whether or not she is going to take that leap of faith and basically throw everything away that she believes in, or everything that she thought she believed in, for a guy. I don't know. All right, so my overall take on Manwhore: loved. Capital letters, exclamation points. I loved this book. This is probably one of my favorite books of the year, if not my favorite book of the year. Oh, I'm sorry, Kylan. They're both really good, just in different ways. But I love this book, and I was actually pretty surprised how much I love this book because, one, I've never read this author before, and two, there was just so much hype. And usually, if a book has that much hype, it kills it for me, kills it dead. But for some reason, I just knew that this was going to be good. I just had that feeling in my gut, and it was good, and I wasn't disappointed, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I've read it. I actually bought the audiobook, and I'm listening to it right now because I just want the story in my head until the next one comes out. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to wait. I'm sure I'll go insane long before the next one comes out, but I do highly, highly recommend you read this in real time. I know that a lot of people are hesitant to read a book that has, is this a standalone? No, it's not a standalone. I'm just going to put it out there. Run away if you don't like spoilers like this, but this has a pretty huge cliffhanger, like like this big, like a really, really, really big cliffhanger. But it's not a horrible cliffhanger. I still recommend that you read this in real time. Don't wait for the next book to come out. I mean, it's not that serious. It's a juicy cliffhanger. It's a good cliffhanger. It's not one that's gonna make you want to throw your Kindle at someone's face. I do highly, highly recommend you read this in real time. I know that a lot of people are hesitant to read a book that has a cliffy, but it's not that kind of cliffy. It's not. I feel like the book ended perfectly. If I wrote this book, I would have ended it the exact same way. And I really just want you to suffer with me. I want you to feel what I'm feeling right now. And I don't want to be alone as I go through this wait. I don't really know what else to say. I just loved it. Gut feeling, I loved it. I love the chemistry more than anything else. This just took it over the top. I love the characters. The lead, Rachel, I identified with her. There were some things she did that annoyed me, yes, but I understood her motivation. I think that Katy Evans did a good job building her backstory. There is more that I want to know about her, and there is a lot more that I want to know about Malcolm because there are so many questions that need to be answered as far as his past and why he does the stuff, why he does the things that he does. And this story, 5 stars. 5 stars. I was going to give it, I think, a 4.5 because there were some things that bugged me. But at the end of the day, I go based on feel and I go based on reread. That's how I rate my books. And I already read this twice. So I know I'm going to read it over and over and over and over and over again. And that to me is the ultimate sign of a good book. When I love it so much, I just want to read it again and again, even though I have a to be read list that is about 12 miles long. But all of that can wait because I just want to keep reading more about Malcolm Saint. And you should read it too because I know you'll love it. I do. I promise you'll love it. Okay, so I'm done gushing about the plot. I have some general questions that I wrote down here just to keep myself a little focused. I'm not going to be that focused. I'm not a very focused person. So, all right, so the pace of the story. This story, I loved it. The pace was, it was quick. It wasn't boring. There wasn't a moment where I felt like, oh, let's move this along, or I'm lost. What the hell's happening? I thought that it was perfectly balanced. The beginning, the middle, the end, everything was connected very well, and it all flowed. I will say that when I got to the end, I started reading it very, very, very slowly because I I had a feeling about how it was going to end, and I was nervous about the end and I didn't want it to end. So it pretty much took me forever to read the last 30% of the book, but the ending was, it was perfect. The characters, I loved both the leads. I kind of compare them. I think they're on par for me with the leads from Reasonable Doubt. And if you know me, you know how much I love Reasonable Doubt. So to compare them to that, it's the ultimate to me because I think they were perfect together. Their chemistry was flawless. It was just flawless. It was all consuming. It wasn't too much though. The romance, it built. It was built. It built, and there wasn't a lot of sex. There was just enough. It was right. I mean, honestly, my favorite scenes with these two were the scenes when they were just kissing. Katy Evans knows how to write a good ass kissing scene. And I think that it was as sensual to me as some of the best sex scenes out there. I thought it was perfect. And I just loved how she built on their chemistry, and she didn't just throw a bunch of raunchiness at me. I thought it was very well done. Were there any side characters? Yeah, Malcolm has his best friends, and so does Rachel. I actually didn't really love Rachel's best friend. I didn't love her roommate. I thought she was kind of pushy. I don't know. She came off as abrasive to me, but she was a good voice in Rachel's head. I understand her purpose. She was there to keep Rachel cautious, and then her other best friend was there to tell her that she needed to take a chance, you know, kind of like the angel and the devil on her shoulder. But they weren't the story. The side characters, I didn't think they enhanced or hindered the story. They were just there. As far as I was concerned, they didn't even exist because I only cared about Rachel and Malcolm. They were everything to me for the 2 days that I read this book. I was trying to steal pieces of the book when I was at work. I'm supposed to be paying attention in class and I'm reading, but it was that kind of book. It's the best kind of book where I was thinking about it all the time, but I didn't want it to end. Funny faces. We should make a bloopers reel.